Mara, please. I ran through the woods. He was chasing me. I think he saw me come in here. A man led me here. He pointed to that corner there, told me it was the only way out. He said you would protect me.
Easy now, child. Let me clean these cuts. You're safe here with me.
I had to leave him. He told me to run and not look back. Please don't let them find me. A man led me here, through the woods. He told me to hide right there, in that corner. He said they were coming.
She said, "Don't make me say it again," and the shotgun lifted, shaking in her hands. You step out and I pull. The dark inside the barn breathed back at her. A small voice answered, thin and cracked. "Please don't." She tightened her jaw. "I mean it." The voice said, "I ain't moving." Her boots stayed planted in the doorway, light behind her, dark ahead. She swallowed and raised the barrel higher. "Hands up. Now." The voice shifted somewhere between the stalls. "They are." "Higher." "They're shaking." "So am I." Dust floated through the beam of the lantern at her back. The barn smelled old and closed in. "Talk," she said. "Why are you here?" Silence pressed down. Then the child said, "I'm hurt." She barked back, "Everybody is." "My leg won't work right." "Then you should have stayed home." "I don't got one." That landed harder than she expected. She took one step in. The floor creaked. "Don't run," she warned. "I can't," he said. "I tried." Her finger brushed the trigger. "What are you doing in my barn?" "Hiding." "From what?" "Them." The way he said it made her skin pull tight. "Who?" He hesitated. "The ones who said screaming makes it worse." The lantern flickered. She felt something old stir in her chest. "Step into the light," she said. "Slow." He shuffled forward. The glow caught his face, too pale, eyes wide, dirt smeared along his cheek. Blood crusted his knee, dark and roan. "Stop," she snapped. He froze. "I don't want you mad," he whispered. "I ain't mad." "Everybody says that." She said, "How old are you?" 8, he said. "After a beat, I think." Her throat tightened. "Who showed you this place?" He answered quick. "They did." "Who is they?" "The ones who watch." She felt the barn tilt, like it remembered things she didn't. "Say my name," she said. He did. Hearing it broke something open. She lowered the gun a fraction. "How do you know me?" "The truck never moves." "That don't mean nothing." "It means you don't leave." His voice was calm now. Too calm. "Who told you widows don't ask questions?" He looked at the dirt. "They said you'd listen." Her hand shook harder. A sound shifted above them. Wood popped. She lifted the shotgun again. "That better be nothing." The child flinched. "Please don't shoot." "Then tell me why you came." "I didn't choose you." "Then who did?" He swallowed, eyes shining. "They said your door stays shut but your barn don't." The words crawled under her skin. She stared at the dark corners, the places her husband used to stand. Her voice dropped. "You been watching me." "Not like that." "Then how?" "Waiting." "For what?" "For night." The lantern flickered again. Her breath came shallow. The barn felt smaller. "You don't just wander into safety," she said. "Somebody points the way." She glanced back toward the open door, the night beyond it quiet in a way she didn't trust. You alone? I think so. That ain't an answer. They said not to come in pairs. Her spine stiffened. Who is watching right now? He shook his head but didn't meet her eyes. They don't need to watch, he said. They know. The lantern buzzed faintly. A drop of oil fell and hissed. She felt the night lean closer, like it was listening through the walls. Her grip loosened more. The barn no longer felt empty. It felt chosen. That scared her more than footsteps had. Her arms burned as she held the gun. Slowly, carefully, she lowered it until the barrel pointed at the dirt. The child watched her like a skittish animal. Don't come closer, he said. She took a step anyway. I ain't here to hurt you. They said you would. They lie. They always say that too. She stopped an arm's length away. The smell of blood and hay mixed in her nose. She felt the weight of the barn, the years, the silence she'd lived with. The place had held births and deaths and things nobody named. She looked at his leg, at his hands, at the way he stood ready to bolt. Her chest ached with something close to fear and something worse than hope. Her voice came out low and rough. Who sent you? The child stepped fully into the lantern light, revealing bruises that didn't belong to a fall. His sleeve was torn, shoulder scratched, and his knee raw and crusted with blood. She took a step closer, keeping the shotgun leveled but loose, her eyes scanning every shadow. You got hurt running? She asked. He shook his head. No. I didn't run fast enough. Her finger tapped the trigger out of habit. Explain. He swallowed. They told me where to go. Which barns are safe? She froze. Who told you that? He looked down at the floor, whispered, I don't know their names. I just listen. The words made the barn feel smaller, tighter. She felt a cold weight settle into her stomach. Safe from what? She demanded. He shook his head again. I just follow. Follow who? She stepped forward again, boots crunching on the dirt floor. Not them, he said. Someone else. His voice was small but sharp. They teach me barns. They teach me which doors stay shut and which open for the night. Her heart skipped. That wasn't chance. This wasn't random. He didn't wander into her barn by mistake. The shadows around her seemed to lean closer. And why me? She asked. I don't know, he said, voice tight. I heard it whispered. Your place is quiet. They said quiet is good. She swallowed hard, lowering the gun a little more. You think anyone who whispers is good? He flinched. I don't know. You listen too much, she said. Or maybe not enough. His knees scraped against the floor as he shuffled to stay in the light. They made me watch. They made me learn where the safe ones are. Her chest felt hollow. The safe ones? Yes, he said. Safe ones don't scream. She stared at him. The barn smelled like hay, old wood, and metal, the lantern light trembling across walls scarred with age. Who's teaching you this? She said. He shrugged, tiny shoulders rising under the threadbare shirt. They say I need to know. Her finger tightened on the stock. Need to know what? He didn't answer right away. To stay alive, he whispered. His words sounded like someone else's, like echoes in the empty beams above. She shivered. A creak sounded outside the barn. Both froze. She lifted the gun fully again. Stay behind me, she whispered. He nodded. I hear them, he said. Who? Them, he said, voice trembling. She scanned the dark edges of the barn, the doorway framing blackness like a slit eye. They're not coming in, she said. Not yet. His lip trembled. They might. She crouched slightly, gun ready. Then we wait, she said. His small hands fisted. How long? Until the night forgets to move, she said. He blinked. She knew it sounded like nonsense, but it was all she had. The lantern flickered. Shadows jumped across the walls. You said someone showed you which barns are safe, she said. Did anyone show you mine? No, he said quickly. I walked. You walked at night with them? Yes, he whispered. I had to. She swallowed. The sound of the wind shifting outside made her think the barn itself was listening. You're not lying? She tried to keep the edge from her voice. He shook his head vigorously. I swear. She lowered the gun fully. Then stepped closer. Don't fall. He shuffled forward, limping slightly. She could see the scratches along his arms now, the dirt under his fingernails. You're lucky you found my barn, she said. Not lucky, he whispered. Guided. She exhaled slowly, a weight she didn't name lifting slightly. Then, from outside, a footstep echoed sharply against the wooden planks. Her head snapped toward the doorway. Stay behind me, she said again. The child nodded, eyes wide. The lantern flickered one last time, and then went out, plunging them into a trembling, shared darkness. The footsteps came again, heavier this time, deliberate. She tightened her grip on the shotgun, ears straining. Who's there? She whispered into the black. A low, calm voice answered, It's me, Martha. She froze, chest tightening. Sheriff, she hissed. The darkness in the doorway shifted, and the outline of a man appeared, badge gleaming faintly in the lanternless night. It's late, he said softly. I didn't expect anyone to be up. She stepped forward, blocking the doorway with her body. Go back. I told you. I can't, he said. He's here. The boy. She glanced down at the child behind her, shaking slightly, hiding, small and trembling. He doesn't belong to you, the sheriff said. Her hand trembled, finger on the trigger. And who does he belong to? She asked. The sheriff's jaw tightened. He took a step closer. Nobody. Not yet. The child shrank against the post, whispering, I don't like him. She snapped, Shut your mouth. He pressed closer to the wood, eyes wide. The sheriff's hand stayed empty, open, but the calm in his voice felt wrong. I'm not here to hurt anyone, he said. You are, she shot back. No, he said. I'm just doing my job. She laughed bitterly. Your job is what? Protecting the guilty? Counting bodies? Or hiding behind that badge while they take kids? His face tightened. Enough. She said, Enough? Don't tell me enough. You knew. You knew what they did, and you stayed. I didn't know everything, he said, softer now, almost pleading. You didn't know, she spat. Don't play that game with me. My husband, she cut herself off, voice breaking. You knew. The sheriff looked away. The child whispered, He smells like the men. She turned sharply. What did you say? He shrank back. Nothing. You're afraid of him, she said, voice low. Not the dark, the child whispered. The badge. She nodded, feeling the truth settle in her chest like cold stone. She looked at the sheriff. You're afraid of me too, she said. Not you, he said quickly. You don't understand. Try me, she said. I don't, it's complicated, he said. Complicated? She asked. He's just a boy. It's not that simple, he said, almost a plea. It never is, she said, voice shaking. The air between them thickened, charged. The barn felt smaller, heavier. Dust drifted in the weak moonlight, and the silence stretched, only broken by the child's shallow breathing. She took a step sideways, blocking the doorway more firmly. You stay there, she said. Or try something, I swear, he held up his hands. I won't. His eyes flicked to the child, then back at her. He doesn't belong to you, he repeated. I belong to no one, the child said, voice shaking. The sheriff flinched. You think you can take him? She demanded. I'm not taking him, he said. I just want to make sure he's safe. She laughed bitterly. Safe? Safe in your hands? He said nothing. She said, I trusted people once. I buried them. The sheriff's face hardened. Don't, he said quietly. Don't speak of the dead. She stared at him. You already did. And now you want my child to stay quiet. To hide. A long pause. Then he said softly, almost a whisper, Martha, don't. She cocked her head. Don't what? He looked down. Don't do what you did to him. She narrowed her eyes. I don't know what you mean. Don't let him go unprotected, he said. Even if it costs you everything. She pressed her body tighter to the doorway. The barn smelled like sweat, hay, fear, and metal. She whispered, I'm not letting anyone take him. The child peeked from behind her leg. I won't leave, he said. Good, she said. The sheriff stepped back, removing his hand from his belt. The light of his badge dulled in the dark, no longer shining. He said, I can't stay here. Then go, she said. You can't stop this, he said. I know. She watched him turn, shoulders stiff, face hard, and he disappeared into the black outside. The barn felt quiet again, but charged. She lowered the gun slowly, listening to the child breathe. The words trembled on her lips. Who sent you? She backed deeper into the barn, keeping the child between herself and the doorway. The shotgun rested heavy in her hands, though she didn't raise it yet. Sit down, she said, voice low but firm. He lowered himself onto the floor, knees pulled to his chest. Dirt and old hay clung to his clothes. Tell me everything, she said. Everything you know. He looked at her, eyes wide, hesitant. I can't remember all the names, he whispered. But I know the well. The one by the old house. They take the ones who don't scream right. She froze. Don't scream right? He nodded. They say it makes them quiet forever. They never come back. She tightened her jaw. The barn smelled damp, like earth and rot. Something about his words echoed in her chest, memories she hadn't touched in years. The ground remembered things. The child's voice reminded her. Your husband, he said, voice trembling. She flinched. Don't, she hissed. He shrugged. I just know some things, he whispered. I hear names at night. I see them in the dark. She swallowed. Names of who? People who disappeared, he said. Some buried, some left. Her mind raced. Names she'd learned to forget clawed at her memory. Old letters, quiet graves, things hidden under the dirt. She looked down at the child. How do you know these things? He shivered. I see it in the dirt. I hear it in the wind. They told me the ground listens. She closed her eyes for a moment, imagining it, the earth remembering every secret, every body buried without a word. Her hands shook slightly on the shotgun. She forced herself to breathe. He pointed a small finger at a dark corner. It started there, he said. Where someone fell. They didn't make it. Nobody knew. She pressed her lips together. The memories came fast, sharp. Her husband, the accident, the silence afterward. The town moving on. Her hand gripped the gun tighter. Who told you about this? She demanded. Nobody, he said quickly. I just remember it. The barn felt alive, watching, listening. Shadows shifted as if they wanted to move closer. Do you see him? She asked. Him? Your husband. The one they buried. He shook his head. No. Not him. But I feel him. In the dirt. In the corners. She swallowed. His words dug into her chest. The past, alive again, pressed into the night around them. She felt like the barn itself was breathing, pulsing with secrets. A sudden creak at the doorway made them both look up. She froze. "Don't move," she whispered. The sheriff's voice came, soft and deliberate. Martha, her heart dropped. "No," she said, stepping in front of the child. "Don't say it." He continued, almost gentle. "Don't forget him." Her hands trembled. The child buried his face in her sleeve. The barn seemed smaller, the shadows longer, the air thick with the weight of unspoken things. "How do you know him?" she demanded, voice low. "I've heard stories," he said. "Things the ground doesn't forget. Things that stay in the dark." She closed her eyes, trembling. The memories surged, her husband's laugh, the creak of the porch, the silence that followed his fall. She looked at the child, pale and shivering, and felt a fierce protectiveness coil inside her. The sheriff's name left her lips before she could stop it. The child flinched. "Who is he?" he whispered. She clenched her jaw. "Nobody," she said, voice tight. "Just a man who forgets nothing." He tilted his head. "Then he knows." She nodded slowly. "Yes. He knows everything. And he won't let it rest." The barn stayed still around them. The dirt floor, the dark corners, the old wood all seemed to hold their breath. She lowered the gun slightly, keeping it ready. The child stayed close, hands tight on his knees, waiting. The air smelled of earth, of old wounds, and of the secrets the ground remembered. She pressed the shotgun tighter, pointing it at the empty doorway, though she knew he was listening. "You should have left him buried," she spat, voice sharp, trembling with anger. "Left him? Who?" The sheriff's voice came from just outside the barn, calm but edged. "Your husband. The one everyone pretended didn't matter. You know what happened." She laughed bitterly. "I know what everyone let happen. Accident. Misstep. Too fast to care." "It wasn't an accident," he said softly. The words hung like a chill over the dirt floor. The child shifted behind her, whispering, "What's an accident?" She shot him a glance. "Something they say when they're guilty." "I warned you," she said, voice low, "about the ground remembering. About what people do and think gets buried." "And yet you're still standing," he said. "Standing to bury more," she shot back. "No," he said. "Standing to see it. To stop it." Her finger twitched. "Stop what?" "Stop who?" "Them," he said. "The old family. The ones who taught him. The ones who always take what they want and call it law." Her jaw clenched. "Law," she said. "Law's got nothing to do with this. Never has." "You think it's over," he whispered. "It's never over. Not for people like us. Not for children like him." The child whimpered. "They come back?" "Sometimes," she said, tightening her grip on the gun. "Sometimes they never leave." "Do you remember the letters?" he asked quietly. "Letters," she snapped. "The ones from your husband's desk. The ones nobody read. Do you remember what they said?" She froze. The barn smelled like hay, dirt, and iron. She swallowed hard. "I remember enough," she said. "Enough to know we were lied to." "They taught him too," he said. "The boy. He knows things. Things that shouldn't live in him." The child whimpered again. "I don't want to know," he said softly. "Too late," she whispered, crouching slightly. "You already know. And now you're here." She felt rage and fear coil together, bitter and sharp. The child suddenly spoke, voice trembling but clear. "They took the knife from the table. The one with the initials. They told me not to touch it, but it was mine too." She stared. "What knife?" "The one in the old house," he said. "The one they buried. The one nobody remembered." Her breath caught. How do you know that? I saw it, he said. I peeked. I know things I shouldn't. The sheriff's voice broke through the barn again. He's telling the truth, he said. She swung toward the doorway. You what? I saw it too, he said. I can't let it go on. I won't. Silence settled like dust. The barn felt alive with memory, with secrets. The child pressed closer to her leg, trembling. She lowered her voice. Do you understand what you're saying? Yes, he said. And I can't stop it. She felt her chest tighten. Nobody can. Not by themselves. A long, heavy pause. The sheriff stepped fully into the barn, hands raised, empty. I removed this, he said, pulling the badge from his chest. It doesn't shine anymore. Not for this. Not for them. He dropped it into the dirt. The sound echoed. She watched it hit, a dull metallic thud. That's right, she whispered, jaw tight. The child blinked, wide-eyed. What's that? Power, she said. And what happens when it fails? The sheriff's shoulders slumped. You're strong, he said softly. Stronger than I thought. She glared. Stronger than I need to be. The child said nothing, but his small hand gripped hers tightly. The barn smelled like iron, sweat, and secrets finally breaking free. She lowered the gun completely. Stay close, she said. Don't let anyone near you. The sheriff made a small sound, almost a chuckle, bitter and broken. I can't fix this, he said. No, she said. But maybe someone still can stop what's coming. She turned to the child, voice softening slightly. You hear me? No more secrets. No more hiding. We're done letting them choose. The child nodded, small and trembling. She glanced at the badge lying in the dirt. Some things have to burn before you can walk away. She stepped past it and held the child close, ready for whatever came next. The sheriff stepped back into the shadows outside the barn, voice low and deliberate. He came from the house, he said. The child pressed against her leg. Which house? She demanded, gun steady. The one on the hill. The one with the windows that never open. The one that keeps things, he said softly. The words made her skin crawl. Keeps what? She pressed, voice tight. Everything, he whispered. Everything that's lost. Everything they don't talk about. They don't let it go. She swallowed. The barn smelled like wet hay and iron, the air thick with dust and memories. And they send children to learn? The sheriff stepped closer, his hands raised, cautious. They do what they must. That's how things survive out here. They survive because no one stops it. The child shivered, small shoulders shaking. I don't like it, he whispered. She crouched slightly, gun at the ready. No one does, she said. The sheriff's eyes stayed on her. You think this is the first time? She demanded. I've seen it. Every generation, the same. You stop one, another slips through. Her jaw tightened. Then maybe it's time they stop learning at all. The child whispered, I don't want to go back. She pressed a hand to his shoulder. You won't, she said. Not while I'm standing. The sheriff's gaze flicked to the child. You think you can protect him? She laughed bitterly. I already am. And I won't let him go. The air seemed to hum, heavy and still. They watch, the sheriff said quietly. They always watch. The old family. The ones who keep the house. They know everything that happens. She gritted her teeth. Then we make them watch us too. The child clutched her sleeve. They'll come, he whispered. She nodded. Then we'll be ready. The barn felt smaller now, closer, as if the walls themselves were listening. Dust drifted through the narrow beam of moonlight that cut through a crack. Why send a boy? She asked, voice tight. They pick the quiet ones. The ones who notice. The ones who survive nights like this. The sheriff's eyes hardened. And he survived because someone let him. Her fists tightened on the gun. Then let me finish what they started. Let me make sure no one else comes here. The child whispered, they'll be angry. Let them, she said. I'm done being afraid. A long silence stretched between them. The barn smelled of dirt, sweat, and something older, something like old blood. The sheriff's voice broke it. They never stop. Never. You need to be ready. She stepped closer to the child. I am. He nodded, small, uncertain. And the house, she asked. Does it ever sleep? The sheriff exhaled slowly. No. The house that keeps things never sleeps. The words hung like smoke in the night. Then, headlights appeared in the distance, faint at first, creeping along the road like insects. Engines rumbled softly, then stopped. The sheriff stiffened. They're coming, he said. The child whimpered. I told you, she said quietly, pressing him closer. It doesn't matter. We'll be ready. Her fingers tightened on the shotgun. Dust shifted as a breeze found its way through the barn. The silence was oppressive, almost alive, filled with unseen eyes and old memories. How many? She demanded. 3. Maybe 4, the sheriff said. The old family. They'll want him back. She nodded slowly, jaw tight. Then we make them remember that barns have walls. That children have names. That some things aren't theirs to take. The child looked up at her, wide-eyed. Really? Really, she said. The sheriff looked at them both, then at the approaching lights, and finally down at the barn floor. I can't stop this, he whispered. No, she said. But someone has to stand. The engine shut off outside, leaving only the quiet hum of the night and the breathing of 3 lives pressed together in the shadows. The barn waited. The night waited. And for the first time, she felt a resolve settle in her chest, hard and unyielding. The headlights outside were still, engine silent, but the sound of boots on the wooden floor of the barn made her heart kick. She pressed the shotgun tight against her shoulder, eyes scanning the shadows. Stay close, she whispered to the child. He pressed against her leg, small and trembling. They're here, he said. I know, she replied. Her voice was steady, but her chest thumped like a drum. Then we make them remember who stands here. The child looked up at her, wide-eyed. We can do that? She nodded. Yes. We can do that. The barn door creaked. A figure stepped in, tall, silent. She swung the gun, aimed low. Who's there? Her voice was sharp. You know me, said the voice. It was the sheriff. I'm with you, she said quickly. Then we need a plan, he whispered. She glanced at the child. Run? She asked. He shook his head. No. I stay. Her chest tightened. Good, she whispered. Then we fight together. The shadows in the barn seemed to shift closer, pressing in, smelling like old earth and danger. She felt the weight of every story, every secret the ground had swallowed, pressing down. She took a deep breath. The barn door creaked again. More shapes, voices, murmurs. You shouldn't be here, she hissed. I am, said one voice, cold and smooth. I won't let you take him. The child trembled. It's okay, she said, placing a hand on his small shoulder. I won't let them. Not this time. The figures stepped closer. She raised the shotgun and fired a warning shot into the ceiling. The sound cracked like thunder, making dust fall, making shadows jump. The voices froze. Do it again, she said, voice low and dangerous. The silence hung. We're not afraid of you, she added. The child pressed closer. I'm not, he whispered. Not anymore. One of the figures hissed, moving forward, and she fired again, this time closer, just above the heads of the intruders. They ducked back. The sheriff muttered, "You're fearless." She didn't answer. "No," she said finally, "I'm a mother." "That's different." She stepped forward, boots heavy on the dirt floor, eyes blazing. "Mothers don't ask permission. We don't beg. We don't wait. We protect." The child's eyes widened. "Like that?" She nodded. "Exactly like that." The intruders shifted, murmuring among themselves, but her voice cut through, sharp, unwavering. "I said step back. This barn is mine. That boy is mine. You will not take him." The child whispered, "They won't listen." "Then we make them." Another warning shot, closer this time, sparks from the ceiling falling around them. Dust swirled. "Do you hear me?" she yelled. "We are not afraid. We will not give in." The sheriff stepped closer, careful. "You can't do this alone," he said softly. She shook her head. "I am not alone. He stays with me. And I won't let him go." She glanced at the child. "Do you understand?" "Yes," he whispered. "I understand." The intruders shifted uneasily, one stepping forward, then back. "You're strong," one muttered. She laughed bitterly. "I've had to be. And now it's your turn to remember what happens when mothers refuse to obey." She fired another shot, this one loud, close, shaking the barn like a warning bell. The intruders froze completely, unsure, hesitant. "The ground remembers," she said, voice low. "So do I. And if you touch him, you will answer to both." The child pressed against her side, tiny hand gripping hers. She looked down at him, eyes fierce. "You're safe," she said. "I promise." The sheriff nodded. "No one takes him," she said. "No one." Silence fell over the barn, broken only by dust settling and her steady breath. Outside, the engines remained off. The intruders hesitated. She felt the tension like a living thing, coiling, pressing, waiting for a mistake. "I said stay back," she repeated, voice unwavering. The barn trembled with the weight of their intent and her refusal. She pressed herself closer to the child, hands firm, chest full of resolve. "I am not afraid." "And neither are you," she whispered. The intruders stayed, unmoving, finally realizing the fight was already lost. Her shotgun lowered slightly, still ready. The child's hand squeezed hers, small and firm. She exhaled slowly. "We are done letting them decide," she said. "Tonight, we make the rules." The barn seemed to settle, the shadows folding in, the air still and heavy, carrying the smell of hay, earth, and iron. Outside, the night waited, engines silent, lights dim. She whispered, almost to herself, "Mothers don't ask permission." The barn was still, but the tension stretched tight between them, thick as the dust in the beams. She stood in the doorway, shotgun lowered but ready, eyes flicking from the child to the shadows where the intruders lingered. "Tell me their names," she said, voice low, fierce. The sheriff's shoulders stiffened. I can't," he whispered. "You will," she said. "We end it tonight, or it never ends." "Say their names out loud." His jaw tightened, hands trembling slightly. The child pressed closer to her side. "I don't know them all," he said softly. "Then say the ones you do," she ordered. "Now." The sheriff swallowed. "Tommy." "Martha's boy, little Grace." He hesitated. "Others." "I don't remember everything." "You remember enough," she snapped. "Say them. Each one. Out loud." The barn seemed to lean in, listening. Dust motes floated in the weak moonlight, the floorboards creaking under weight that had been built through decades of silence. The child whispered, "I hear them. Even if you forget." She nodded. "Then let's not." He exhaled shakily. "June. Charlie. Samuel," each name landed like a stone. The child repeated them softly, voice trembling, small hands gripping her sleeve. "Don't stop," she said. "Keep going." The sheriff's voice faltered. "Little Annie. Rebecca. I remember the dates too. August, March, they left quietly, or never came back." She pressed closer, heart pounding. "I need to know. All of them. Everyone they took." He shivered, eyes flicking to the child, then back at her. There's more. Too many to say. Too many buried." She nodded. "Then we named them anyway." The intruders outside stirred, murmuring, uneasy. Their presence pressed against the walls, but she ignored them. "You think saying their names will change anything?" the sheriff whispered. "No," she said, voice firm. "But it stops the silence. That's what matters. Silence is what they hide behind. Silence is what gives them power." The child whispered, "I see them." "Then see them. Say them. Don't let the ground keep secrets any longer." A pause. Then the sheriff continued, voice breaking, almost a cry. "Ben. Clara. Matthew, he faltered, choking. "I'm sorry," he said softly. She stepped closer, hand resting lightly on the child. "Sorry doesn't stop it. You know that. But naming them, remembering them, maybe that does." The child's voice grew steadier. "Eli. Sarah. Joseph. Samuel." Each repetition made the air heavier, denser, but somehow lighter too, like the weight of decades finally pressed into the open. She exhaled slowly, letting the tension stretch thin, then snap. "Now, the dates," she said. "When they were taken, when they disappeared. Every one we can remember." The sheriff hesitated, then spoke softly, the names spilling like water breaking a dam. The child echoed them, small and precise. Quiet burials. Hidden nights. No witnesses. She pressed a hand to the floor, feeling the dirt, the weight of the past, the bodies, the memories, the ground that never forgot. "We see them," she said. "We remember." The barn grew quiet, finally. Dust settled. Shadows seemed to shrink, folding back into the corners. The first light of dawn touched the beams, pale and thin, slipping through cracks and bullet holes. She watched it spread across the dirt floor, illuminating the marks, the scars, the secrets. The child looked up at her. "Is it over?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "For now," he whispered. She exhaled, voice low but steady. "For now." Outside, birds began their first morning calls, thin and hesitant, and she let herself stand a little taller. Names had been spoken, witnesses existed, and the barn no longer held only silence. It held truth. The barn smoked, the air thick with ash and the faint tang of burnt hay. The old family's vehicles had retreated down the dirt road, engines quiet, leaving the space around her heavy and still. She pressed the shotgun against her shoulder, the child close beside her, both of them breathing shallow, tense breaths. "Are they gone?" he whispered. She nodded slowly, eyes scanning the dark edges. "For now. But don't get comfortable." He looked at the smoldering beams. "Did we?" he faltered. "Did we win?" "Not win," she said softly. "Survive. That's all we do out here." The sheriff stepped back into the barn, hands raised, coat dusted with ash. His badge was gone, left on the dirt outside, abandoned like the authority it once carried. "You shouldn't have done that," he said, voice low, uneven. "I had to," she replied. "If I didn't, he'd be gone." He nodded, looking at the child. "And him?" "Safe," she said. She glanced down at the boy, small, trembling, but alive. "For now," she whispered. The child looked up at her, eyes wide. "Will it stop?" "No," she said, voice steady. "Not if we keep feeding it." The words hung between them, heavy with the knowledge of what that meant. Smoke curled around the roof beams, drifting down in lazy spirals. "You shouldn't have fired," the sheriff said again, softer now. She didn't answer immediately. I had no choice, she said finally. No one listens until they see it burning. The child pressed against her, whispering, "The ground, is it happy now?" She shook her head. The ground never stops asking. It never forgives. It only remembers. We've just added another story to it. The sheriff exhaled, tension coiling out of him slowly. And the boy? He stays with me, she said, firm. He has a choice now. Something he's never had. A beam of early light crept through the broken roof, striking the dirt floor, casting long, jagged shadows across the barn. The sheriff followed her gaze. It's quiet, he said. She shook her head. Quiet now. For a moment. That's all. The smoke hides the smell, but the truth's still here. The child pressed closer. Will they come back? They always do, she said. But next time, we'll be ready. She looked at the sheriff. And you? You stay out there, watching? He shrugged. Watching, remembering, sometimes that's all we can do. She turned toward the door, boots crunching softly on the ash-dusted floor. The child followed, small and tentative. She stepped outside, the barn smoldering behind her, walls blackened, beams sagging under weight, the smell of iron and fire heavy in the morning air. It's still standing, the child said softly. Barely, she replied. She crouched and pressed a hand to the dirt near a fallen post. It remembers. Every scar, every secret. That's what survives. Not the fire, not the smoke. What survives is truth. The child nodded, small hands pressing into her sleeve. Then we keep it, he whispered. She smiled faintly. Yes. We keep it. The sheriff lingered at the edge of the clearing, coat still streaked with ash. You sure about this? He asked. I'm sure, she said. She glanced at the child. We can't erase what's been done. But we can choose who survives it. He survives. The child smiled faintly, still small, still fragile, but alive. The barn behind them smoldered, the fire dying, leaving only smoke and the smell of iron and charred wood. She looked at the horizon, fields stretching beyond, the land quiet but watching. The ground will ask for more, she said. And we'll answer. Together. He asked, voice small, almost a whisper, will it ever stop? She bent down, looking him in the eyes. No, she said firmly. Not if we keep feeding it. But at least now, we feed it truth, not fear. He nodded, gripping her hand tightly. She stood, dusted ash from her sleeves, shoulders squared, eyes sharp. Let's open the doors, she said. Let the morning in. She pushed against the barn doors fully, wide, letting the light flood the smoldering space. The child stepped beside her, small but steady. The sheriff watched, silent, fading back toward the shadows. Together, the widow and the boy faced the morning, the barn behind them, smoke curling into sky, the land watching, but no longer deciding. The morning was pale, weak light stretching across the fields, but it felt honest, unafraid. She held the child's hand tightly as they stepped out from the barn, smoke still curling behind them. Are we really done? He asked quietly. For now, she said, voice low, steady. The day's ours. He looked up at her, small shoulders trembling. I won't run, he whispered. She shook her head. No. You stay. That's different. You have a choice now. That's what matters. He nodded, gripping her hand tighter. They walked slowly along the dirt path, boots crunching over stones and dry grass. The sheriff appeared at the edge of the barn clearing, coat streaked with ash, hat low. You're taking him? He asked softly. Yes, she said. And no one stops it. He looked at the child, small, pale, eyes wide. He'll need more than this, he said. I know, she said. But he has someone willing to stand. The child whispered, will he come back? She shook her head. No. Not today. Not if we keep walking. The sheriff nodded, slowly, and turned back toward the empty road. She didn't wait. She kept walking. Fields stretched around them, wide, open, but not empty. Each step seemed to shake loose the old stories, the buried truths, the weight of past silence. "Do you know why I'm here?" the child asked, voice small. "Because someone needed you," she said. "Because no one else would." He glanced at her. "And now they won't take me?" She squeezed his hand. "Not while I'm here. And not while you remember who you are." He nodded, eyes brightening slightly. "I remember," he whispered. "Good," she said. "That's all that counts." The barn smoked behind them, the roof sagging, walls blackened. The world seemed quiet, almost listening, waiting. "What about the sheriff?" the child asked. "He's gone?" "He'll be there," she said. "Watching. Remembering. Learning the hard way what happens when the ground keeps secrets." They walked past a fence line, where the sheriff's badge hung on a post, dull in the weak sunlight, metal scraped, dirt covering its shine. She didn't touch it. "He left it there," she said. "A reminder." The child's small fingers brushed it briefly. "It's heavy," he whispered. "Yes," she said. "But nothing heavier than knowing the truth." The wind shifted, stirring dust and the smell of iron from the barn. "Do you think they'll come back?" he asked. "Yes," she said softly. "They always do. But now, we know. And we're ready. Together." He nodded again, small, firm. "Together," he repeated. She smiled faintly, and the edges of the morning seemed a little brighter. Their shadows stretched long across the fields, uneven but steady. She could feel the land watching them, waiting, but for the first time, it didn't decide. A creek appeared ahead, low and murky, reflecting the pale sky. They paused. "Will we rest here?" the child asked. "For a moment," she said. She knelt beside him, brushing dirt from his sleeve. "Remember, it's not the fire, the smoke, or the men who decide. It's the living who choose." He looked up at her. "We're the living?" She nodded. "Yes. And we choose." The barn was still behind them, smoldering, silent now. The dirt remembered everything, but for the first time, it also remembered resistance. They walked past the creek, past fields that had swallowed truths for generations. "Do you think it's over?" he asked again. "No," she said. "But we can survive it. That's enough for now." He looked up at her, wide-eyed, and nodded. "I understand," he whispered. She pressed a hand to his shoulder. "Good. Then hold on to that." The sun was rising, pale and slow, spilling light across the fields, illuminating small flowers, stones, and the path ahead. Their shadows merged, stretching forward, moving into morning together. Finally, they reached the edge of the town's outskirts, the barn behind them a smoldering witness. She let go of his hand for a moment, letting him step forward. "Thank you," he whispered. She smiled faintly, voice low but firm. "Stay alive," she said. "And remember who you are." He nodded, stepping beside her. Together, they walked forward, boots crunching over dirt and stone. The badge hung on the fence post, forgotten by the world but not by them. She looked down at him. "Ready," he nodded. She took a deep breath. "Then let's go home." The child's boots crunched softly on the dirt road, side by side with hers. The morning light was pale but steady, brushing the fields with gold. "Where are we going?" he asked. "Home," she said, voice low. "But not the same one as before. Somewhere safe." He looked up, small face serious. "Safe?" "Safe enough," she said. "For now." The wind carried the smell of ash from the barn behind them, and she shivered. The smoke had faded, but the memory of fire lingered. She gripped the shotgun loosely, feeling its weight still, a reminder of what survived and what could come back. The road stretched empty, long, and winding. "Do the roads remember?" he asked quietly. "Every step," she said. "Every footprint, every whisper, every secret." They don't forgive. They just keep track. He pressed close, small hand in hers. Like the barn? Exactly like the barn, she said. Every place, every wall, every shadow, they remember. That's why we walk carefully. He nodded slowly, glancing at the fields. And the people who hurt others? Will they remember too? Sometimes, she said. Sometimes they forget. But the ground, the roads, they never do. That's why we carry what we remember. The child's eyes widened. We carry it? Yes. All of it, she said firmly,